I mean, the Wyvern is just so good this game in general. It's actually an amazing Wyvern game.
And it's going to be played by Fishman, one of the few teams that do run position 4 Wyvern. I remember during the DPC, so many clutch ultis, and there was like one specific game where he scaled insanely well, went for damage instead from position 4. So potentially, if this game does allow him, Fishman always has a real, not Fishman, sorry, Kataomi has a good read on how to scale into the late game.
Yeah, because that's a hero in like a pseudo like core role, even if it's 4 position with farm. That hero can ruin Huskar's day.
Thinking long and hard about these bans, where do you think OG's direction is going that Entity might want to think about banning out?
I mean, they have damage now. Maybe they're lacking just some AoE control. I think you have kind of single target stun in Tiny, and like Wind Ranger is going to try and get double shackles, but that's not reliable. Maybe they're suffering. What role do they need? This is going to be a Mars Huskar. They need a carry.
Carry to go with the Wind Ranger, it looks like.
Yeah, Faceless is gone. That's one of your teamfight carries. Because a lot of your teamfight comes in the other roles, which is rough. So maybe they'll just go for a completely different direction. Like I've seen them, they paired like Doom in the past with the Huskar, right?
I will
Could be an
take
idea.
your word for it.
I'm just gonna get, you know what, it would work. But
I just love that OG ban AA, because it's like, how do you even fit AA into Entity's draft? This doesn't look like you can, but it's just, you got it when you pick the Huskar.
Yeah. Another huge issue, I've seen OG when they've played Huskar in the past, I think they struggle if they commit in and you are able to mitigate this damage with Chen Heal and Wyvern Heal, they're then in, you know? And it's hard for them to get out on OG. They're going to need to build like 4 staffs if an Entity are really good at disengaging. So I think like their itemization on OG is going to be really important this game, and I want another hero that can help them contest Roche so that Huskar can try and get it instead of this Bristleback.
That'd be pretty big if you can steal Aegis from Bristleback. You know, maybe mess with their timings a little bit, because they will hit a strong timing. I'm not a big fan usually for Chen and Wyvern as the same, like as your 4 and 5, because it does have a lot of downside to it. You can't really play as aggressive, but Batrider as your mid laner does, like, you have BKB piercing ability, you have a hero that can move who is aggressive early on, so he does check a lot of the boxes.
Okay. Well, Entity, what would you like to see for their last pick? Because they're going to be picking first out of this banning phase.
I think something that brings some team fight. We've talked a lot about how Roche is so important. You've got Huskar on one side, Briss on the other. That team fighting offlaner or like a vision hero, something that's going to help those Roche fights go well. Because right now they kind of also lack some initiation. They're entirely relying on like the Batrider running in with like a BKB. So those kind of teamfight offlaners, a lot of them banned out, like the Brewmaster I think would have been really good. But something that can at least contribute early on and help secure or fight Roshan.
Yeah, like a lot of the good ones that Toby plays are gone, like Enigma and Brew. He's been known to play a little bit of Veno. Visage, lovely. This is very cheesy.
Yeah, Visage Chen. Here we go, with Bristle.
Oh my god.
This also gives them flexibility, because Stormstormer mean Visage player, and they can put Batrider on the off lane if necessary, if they feel like they need to do it. So for OG, I wouldn't mind seeing something like a Jug try to ruin this potentially Visage in the lane or against the Batrider. You need to be thinking about the lane. Even though it's into Winter Wyvern, sometimes you just might say whatever, pick it, and because you do have Huskar from the offlane who does scale extremely well, so picking something like Juggernaut I think would round up OG's draft nicely.
Yeah, like I'm just so scared. Like Entity right now. Oh. Okay, that's new actually. Yeah, I'm just scared. I don't think this is a good solution. For me, I see Entity's item timings. They get the mech on Chen, the Ags on Bristle. If Toby on his Visage goes for like the Boots of Bearing, you just have like constant drum charges. You're constantly running. Avenge is not going to be able to stop that.
It feels like they're just so worried about being run over there. Like we got to get the most like fast-paced early game. Uragi almost feels like a 3 position this game, where if he rushes an Ags, his job is just to frontline, maybe die, basically set up a good team fight for Amar as well as BZM's Coddle to dish out all the damage. They're just trying to match Entity's pace with this pick almost.
Who do you think is going to be able to hit that pace first, hit those timings a little bit better?
I'm looking at Entity. OG, they have no team fight whatsoever. This is a Midkeeper of the Light. Last time I saw BZM play it, it was mostly about just putting some things on Bear, just amplifying the damage from the Bear, and seems like they're going to be playing Amar as a real carry, while Vengeful Spirit and the rest going to be buffing him up.
They're trying to use the Vengeance save against the Bat, but
Yeah.
and just make him more like the one and only, but I don't think it's like that amazing of a Huskar game.
Yeah. This is the kind of draft Endy's just been winning with. They got their heroes. I mean, they have a wide enough hero pool, even though they've got one of the smaller hero pools of the tournament, that you can't ban everything, and I'm liking them too.
Alrighty, well, it feels like Entity might have the advantage here. They're playing very much to their strengths. Let's jump on into our second series. Game number 1. It is Sunspan and Jenkins.
Hello, Sunsfan here with Jenkins. We got a sick-ass matchup today. Young lad.
Yes, we do. We got some good stuff.
I think you're doing almost every game today, so we get to get your opinions on
right.
each draft afterwards
That's right.
as well. But OG versus Entity, second and third respectively in their groups, basically the same record,
Yep.
although there was obviously one less team for one of the groups. But this draft, I mean, like they said, Entity's been picking crazy stuff, so this is not that big of a surprise. But from OG, the Huskar coming out, and we were expecting like something more of a hard counter potentially, like a, well, Bloodseeker really wouldn't make that much sense, but you were talking about Necro being really good. But they end up going for basically a more traditional draft for them, which includes a Visage, so not super worried about the Huskar, because like the panel said, he might already be countered enough.
I do agree, as some interesting high ground action does happen, but no, I mean, I think the Visage is more up Entity's alley. I mean, this is one of their top heroes. They flex it between mid and their off lane, and with, of course, Saberlight, they can flex it to carry as well if they wanted to, so they're just going with comfort, and it's a hero that does function very well against Huskar for about the same reason the Necro does. You have the Visage Birds hitting very quickly. It's very difficult to armlet toggle. Of course, Huskar can disarm the creep army from Chen and Visage, but that has a duration to it. You know, that's not a hard counter.
Yep, as we might have a level 1 fight to start us out, but the Illuminate forcing Entity back, so the runes will likely just be split. One thing I want to talk about is this Huskar Ags, which I assume will be built this game to counter the Bristleback, to make him face him. Do you think that is that like a super fast progression for him, like second item?
I think it's like second or third item. But look at the lanes. Amar is heading towards bot to try to match Saberlight.
Okay.
They want to get, yeah, Seb's heading down there too, so they want the Huskar wind lane against Bristleback. Okay. So they think Huskar will just dumpster a Bristle in lane.
Well, he's going to have to worry about the Arctic Burn already. Amar, quite low to start the game. Starts out with Inner Fire, and he's going to be accompanied by Seb on the Wind Ranger, which is no big surprise. He's been playing like 2 heroes, I feel like, this tournament. And you can't really argue with results because they are winning a lot of games. But back to the Huskar, because this is kind of the hero I want to talk about the entire game. I'm not going to lie here. What is the item? I assume Armlet. And you talked about Ags potentially. Do you need to go BKB this game? Do you need anything special?
I think BKB against Bat, even like Visage, Wyvern, these heroes have a lot of magic abilities that sure, they have physical as well, BKB piercing, but it's enough that you definitely need it. And the Napalm stacks, like you need something well, then again, maybe you go Lotus on one of the other heroes and just fully go like greedy on Huskar. You could go for like Armlet, like some Sanj item, maybe Sanj and Yasha, probably more than likely a Halberd to kind of kite and fight the Bristle. That's also a decent approach. He has a Satanic in his sticky buy on Amar.
Yep, of course. We can see a nice Shackle. Saberlight already getting low, but there's no Burning Spears to come yet from Amar. And I mean, Satanic, if you eventually do get that, it will obviously be a dispel for some of those sticky Napalm stacks and whatnot.
Yeah, because I feel like the BKB with the, like, if he has enough HP and if he has dispels, then I actually don't think he needs the BKB.
Okay.
But we'll see what his approach is. It's Amar, so probably it won't be BKB.
Right.
If you think he's going to build something, you're almost always wrong.
That's right. He's going to build the greediest thing possible would just be Satanic. It's like the second item, but
which he does on other heroes.
Yeah, he has done it before. Yuragi, this is another, obviously the position 1 for this team, but he's kind of playing an off-lane Venge to start. Do you expect him to go for the utility type build?
God, I have...
Obviously, the swap with the lasso is one of the big reasons they picked it, I would assume.
Yeah, I have a very little read on the carry Venge. I mean, even when it's picked, like, these days, usually people will play it in a core role to play it off lane, right? So I suppose, like, Amar is the true carry, and this is something that OG does. Seb?
Yeah, getting chased a bit here. Already with that Arctic Burn stack, Amar has to be forced out as well as he works on the armlet, obviously. And then from Entity side, we talked about how they picked some crazy stuff throughout the group stage. The fact that obviously Saberlight is the one subbing for them as the position 1 player, considering that he is off lane for his actual team, TSM. But a nice shackle shot is going to set up some right clicks from Amar, but again, Kataomi is ready for the Arctic Burn. That percentage-based damage is pretty damn strong. As Seb might actually go to the grave here. Pops that Fairy Fire. Coil Spray not quite enough, so he's going to get out with just a little HP. But back to the very boring point I was going over, Jenkins.
Which was? I don't remember.
No, just talking about how they picked some crazy stuff, but Bristleback's very standard right now.
Yeah,
Does this feel like a good Bristleback game to you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's sure he can get kited, but he kind of likes to play long fights as well, like this Fishman.
Yep, he's getting very low. That was the toss back into the magic missile, so first blood the way of OG, and Saberlight might be going down here as well. Nope, it'll be Seb instead.
Oh, they got Amar as well on the creep wave.
You're right.
Okay. And remember, they wanted
into a pause. Okay, okay. What does this pause mean, Jenkins?
I can tell you this is a settings pause.
Okay.
That is a.
So what setting got him killed?
Maybe right click deny or something like that. Actually, I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna take a wild guess and say it was there's the new setting that when you right click an allied creep, if it's not below 50% HP, you don't try to auto attack it. So you can click the creeps and your hero's not gonna sit there trying to attack it. I'm gonna guess it's that one.
So was it the aggro of the creep that potentially got him killed?
I don't think it was the aggro. I think he didn't keep running.
I see.
He didn't keep running because he was trying to hit the creep.
Gotcha. Yep, looks like we're ready, and then Amar disconnects again. So more settings need to be changed here for him, of course.
Crashing. Okay, I was wrong about that. It looks like. Just making up stories here.
Well, it makes it a little more interesting than him dying because his computer crashed.
Yeah.
Unfortunate, of course.
It's going to be 2 deaths down there.
Yeah, that definitely hurts. Obviously, Huskar is one of those heroes that, this is something we don't get to talk about that often when, you're having issues with the computer, but maybe the worst hero to have issues with because you're on such low HP all the time.
Yeah.
Maybe Morphling is up there as well if you're Agi game.
It's like a little bit better because he doesn't have the armlet yet, but he's still playing constantly on low HP, and you can see that he went 2 points Berserker's Blood, no points in Burning Spear, so he's playing entirely to stay at low HP and just abuse the regen he's getting from this ability. And of course, if your PC crashes and you just walk into the creep wave and die...
You can see his wand, by the way, his stick, 10 charges.
And
so
also Fairy
Fire. Something definitely happened there. That is actually really unfortunate. For Amar. And this is a guy that, obviously he's an absolute beast, but would you say he has the propensity to tilt? Just looking at your face, just the immediate grin. I think you answered the question.
Pubs and competitive I think also he's an insanely competitive guy. So
we got a toss back into the magic missile again, but the Mud Golem with Fishman applying some pressure to Yuragi. So Toby actually pops the Fairy Fire himself to stay alive here, as Taiga just beating the crap out of him with that Christmas tree. Just harassments all around. Although the Mud Golem's still blocking Taiga, this is really nice micro coming from Entity, which will lead to a kill onto Taiga himself. A nice turnaround from Fishman.
That's a Fishman Chen, man. This is what we've been seeing all tournament from him. He gets this hero. Level 3 Chen, not a super powerful being in the world.
Yeah,
you would think, but
accurate.
He's got some really good creeps to play with and good micro, making it look extremely strong.
Yeah, and not that he needs a buff, but I was thinking it'd be really cool if you could actually suicide the tomato or potato just to get that buff right away.
Insta-kill?
Yeah, that actually sounds really cool. But Chen is, what was it, 80%?
82%, yeah, over quite a few games.
Maybe not ready for that change quite yet.
Oh.
As you can see, the jungling BZM for the Coddle. And that's the one lane we haven't really talked about is Coddle versus Bad, because both heroes are just going to kill these waves, especially from BZM's side. Half jungle, half mid.
Yeah.
Very, very strong hero right now. Soul Assumption doing a lot of damage to Taiga in this top lane as the pressure continues from Fishman.
This top lane is an interesting one because clearly OG is, they're doing the tossbacks into Venge Stun into Wave of Terror. It's a lot of nukes. It looks pretty good. Oh, Stormy's actually going for it.
Yeah, pops that Firefly. That's the Arcane Rune. Seb, he's just going to get lassoed on the high ground with that 4 sticky Napalm stack. Should be an easy kill for Stormstormer. So first kill for him in this, I guess you can call it the mid lane, but you can see the CS right now between the mid laners not really that close because of the jungle discrepancy. Jiragi, again, getting gone on by these mud golems. Seem to be finding those consistently in the jungle.
Again with the body blocks.
Taiga can't even get to the other side now, but BZM coming to help with the Illuminate. A lot of damage done to Toby, who have to hightail away as Taiga trying to position again, but he's out of spell, so all he can do is right-click at this point. Illuminate, not channeled fully, but it's going to be enough to take out Toby in the end.
Oh, he's
as
got the rocks.
Yep, the rocks come out from the little shard golems. Avalanche to follow, and these little babies will not be enough to spell the doom for Taiga. So nice turnaround here from OG this time.
Yeah, nice rotation from BZM. He has his full boots of travel, so very easy, low cost for him to make that rotation. Also, Stormstormer on the flip side, when he got that kill on Seb, it's actually maxing Firefly on Batrider, which is not a typical build of the last few patches. He's playing entirely to just farm and be greedy, and yet he was able to get a kill, which is really good for him.
Yeah, and if you look at the net worth, he's 500 behind Caudle, but that's not really a surprise. Like, would you say
Caudle, yeah.
Is that about what you would expect coming out of the landing stage outside of like any kills or ganks in the mid lane?
I feel like Caudle's supposed to outfarm almost anything mid because you farm the stacks, right? And
yeah.
Stormstormer's not really been farming stacks. He's just been kind of cutting waves and jungling.
Yep, Kataomi able to dodge the power shot, or the... Well, it doesn't even matter at this point. He's just completely surrounded. The Ancient Camps will come in to help as well, but Taiga, with the Avalanche, they're actually going to turn this around onto Kataomi.
He has Lasso because of the Arcane Rune. He's not going to chase.
He got another Arcane Rune? Oh, okay.
No, because the earlier one that he used, yeah.
Okay. But taking a nice juicy stack here. Although the power shot ends up getting a couple kills for Seb.
I think during that fight, the camp stacked, and he's like, oh, all right.
Efficiency at its best.
Yeah, exactly.
Taiga with an Invis rune, so you can set something up on this Tiny. And Amar able to get the Helm of the Iron Will, but still a few hundred away from the recipe of the armlet. And that's a neutral item he would like to have, of course. As Taiga showing himself now with that Invis rune, he's going to get lassoed, and there's not really much support coming the way of OG, so that's a freebie for Entity. Did force out Fishman's TP, though. He'll likely just go back into the jungle.
That Shen TP, that's a big one. That's a big one.
He did have a creep with him, so...
He's like, oh, don't mind if I go jungle now. I'm stuck mid, I'll go ahead and go jungle.
Why not? Why not?
You know, I have seen Chen's just absolutely farming in this tournament. Like, the new age Chen doesn't seem to be this, like, early game centric here. Obviously, you're good early game. You still have the creeps, you still get the mech. But people are, like, hard farming jungle to get the mech. People are hard farming to get, like, Ags and Pipe and Vlads, like, these core items. And it doesn't feel like the hero really falls off like he used to.
Yeah, he's very rich in every game, it seems, because we've seen, obviously, the mech is like the standard item for him, which he's, typically you get that extremely early. We've been seeing Aghanim Scepter a lot. Which
somehow.
Goes, I mean, that, like back in the day, it's kind of like a luxury item. Obviously, it was different back in the day, but against this team, I don't think the Ags is going to be particularly good. Although, can you dispel the taunt coming from Huskar's ult when you get the Ags? That's the real question, because that could be a nice counteract for the counter itself against Bristle.
I don't think that's dispellable. I'm pretty sure
if it's a taunt like Berserker's call, then definitely not.
Yeah.
And I know it's called a taunt, but you know how things are in Dota. You never actually know.
Yeah, I know how things are in Dota that I don't know how things are in Dota. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Now, DD taken by Seb, so Stormstormer not able to net that for himself, but does have the Boots of Travel. And going to be going for the Blink as the second item, which... I mean, even just a few months ago, it felt like drums were kind of the dealio for him. But now going back to kind of the original build with Blink.
Or BKB Rush was another thing.
Yeah, that's true.
The Blink tells us that he wants to jump specific heroes in this game. And I think BZM's a fairly obvious target that's going to be this backliner that's absolutely worth jumping, top of net worth. Also, getting the right jump onto Amar, if he's low and armlet toggling, it's something that can let you... get the pick off on him. But with that being said, if you're playing around the Blink of the Lasso, well, Jiragi is Venge. This is a hard counter to the Lasso with the swap.
Yeah, well, we're going to see the Lasso come out, set up by the own Flame Break there on Stormstormer's side. Avalanche not going to keep Taiga breathing for the moment. So Entity get a nice pick off there. As BZM, again, just continuing to farm away. He has his boots of travel, obviously. He's had that for quite a while. A spirit vessel done already with 2 charges.
Okay, I want
Gracious.
to talk about something here.
Okay.
And this is up your alley, okay? Because this is an Aghanim 7.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, okay.
That's my boy.
Here's my issue with with Venge Ags.
Yeah, yeah.
You're a carry, and
Yeah.
you want to die.
Yeah.
I feel like as a carry, you don't want to die. You know, that's the one area of this that I feel like it's an offlaner for this reason. And I suppose I'm answering my own question in saying that.
Yes, you are. Thanks for including me in this conversation. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No. What do you think about this Venge Ag?
It's great. It's very. I remember you ranted about this back in the day. This is a really, really
Back in the
good
day,
ag.
5 months ago. What do you mean? This is new.
People were buying it, and you're like, man, these people are stupid. But then you look, and they're pro players, and you're Div 3.
No, just call the name out. It's BSJ. It was BSJ that was ranting and raving about it. Anything he thinks is good.
Now,
immediately I'm like, there's something wrong with this.
That's understandable, but it is. He just got lucky that it actually is good. Okay.
Yeah, it had a 37% win rate.
The fact that this because the teams aren't playing around it properly.
Okay.
Uragi's already halfway there. This is super. I wasn't expecting like a rush of the Ags.
Listen, if anybody can make it work, it's OG. All right, I'm not. This is the major winner. This is a previous major winner. All right, so.
I mean, you're going to be swapping, in theory, the lasso targets. You're going to get that damage reduction, so it's going to be harder to kill you like for a little bit. And then even if they do kill you, they're not going to kill you again. I don't know. It makes a lot of sense this game, especially with the roll. So I agree. If it's a position 1, maybe not so much.
But the fact that he's basically the 3, I think it makes a lot more sense. Amar's farming. He's hard. I mean, I feel like that sentence has been said 1,000 times in the last year that Amar is farming. But no, he's farming triangle. He's farming safely. Like a lot of the time when he farms, you see him farming aggressively. But in this game, he's taking a carry roll.
Swap, magic missile, but Stormstormer able to get to the high ground, but the power shot and illuminate. Too much burst damage for him to withstand. Curse comes out. A lot of damage being done to BZM by his teammate right now. Gets off the blinding light though, and looks like he'll be a-okay. As Taiga trying to get some of these creeps. They'll find only the pine cone and left with all these worthless ones.
Got the acorn. Take the tower out as well.
Yeah.
All right.
1K lead for OG.
Yeah, nice rotation from Uragi. I mean, all set up by the initial swap on the Batrider. I think if Stormstormer's alive, that's a pretty easy defense. He's quite powerful.
Yeah, Fishman trying to get some more creeps. Only stuck with a tomato right now. And Stormstormer, he wants to get a little bit of revenge. Seb with the win run, but able to close the gap and get the lasso. So that's going to be a pickoff for Entity, of course, just to support. So if you want to call that a trade, then OG will be fine with it.
Yeah, but you're killing the TI winner on the enemy team.
Oh, yeah, that's
got to feel good.
2-time TI winner.
That's right, and he died 2 times in this game.
Is it 5-time major winner now?
I don't know.
4 times as coach, 1 time as player?
Who cares? It's just...
It's a lot.
A lot at this point.
Yep.
He needs to relax.
Yeah, chill, bro. Well, the crazy... Oh, we're going to see an Ava toss from Taiga onto his creep, and this is going to be an easy kill into Fishman, although Stormstormer's here to try to help out.
Oh, nice
TP out is successful. Nicely done, knowing that the lasso would be on cooldown still. And Amar, you can see, trying to get a little bit involved. Has the armlet Sage, will be going for the BKB, then into Ags. What is the shard? Isn't the shard the inner fire little buff? Is that something you go for on this hero?
I think you play to get that on second Rosh, because Huskar's going to be taking Roshan anyway, right? So.
Okay.
But it is a really good one. It makes it 0 cast point.
I'm going to see the magic missile onto Toby. Soul Assumption to follow it up, though. Apparently that is enough for Toby. He's actually isolated at the moment. Teammates coming to his rescue. And the tier 1 tower falls in favor of OG. I would assume that they're waiting for Amar's BKB before they get ultra active.
Yeah.
Or just the Ags onto Uragi, who's 600 away. So some major power spikes coming for OG.
Yeah, you combine them for the bigger spike at this point. I think, like, if Entity walks away from the Rosh pit, probably Amar walks in. But when you have the BKB on Huskar, that's when it's like, okay, it's go time. You can just force Rosh.
Yeah. And a nice fresh D-ward there from Entity, so...
Saberlight's got his Ags, though. This is a very early Ags timing for the Bristle.
Yep. So Soul Ring, Vanguard, Ags, completely standard from what we've been seeing all the Bristlebacks in this tournament.
All right, Suns fan.
Yes.
What's the next objective for both teams?
It might be the old Roshan.
I think that is the Roshan.
Some would call that the ball and chain of Dota
Yeah.
in some respects, of
That's right.
course. They just keep coming back from the dead with more jewelry on them, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, this
I don't know where this
analogy
is going.
really makes a lot of sense. Continue, please.
Wraith Pact on Toby is going to see the curse onto Seb, surrounded by creeps, and Stormstormer looking to finish them off, but the Gale Force creating a little bit of space. Soul Assumption comes to finish him off from Toby.
I'm going to be honest. I don't feel like Seb cares at
No,
all from
of
these
course
stats.
not.
These are. This is the dream for a position 5. OG's just playing this like incredibly greedy.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And there we're going to see the Ags. And how far away is the BKB for Amar? Not too far.
Not
Just
too
a few
far.
hundred away for that recipe. You can already buy the Mithril Hammer with some gold on top of that.
And Taiga's also fairly close to his Blink Dagger, so I think against Bristle in particular, the tossbacks are really important to just separate a fight from where Bristle is or to isolate him so you can actually kill him.
Yeah.
I think I mean, you have Uragi as well to nether swap if you're OG. So that's another option that you have. Toby's just keeping a bird in the pit, by the way.
I mean, it's that important.
That's crazy how important that is. I feel like that could be a Chen creep too, though. But Fishman, of course, he's the captain.
Yeah,
So
I mean, he does have the baby centaur, which is almost entirely worthless. Why not just put that guy in there? I mean, this. Well, they actually did buff this. It used to be. Didn't it used to be 5% magic resist at some point?
yeah, you could stack them. now I don't think you can stack them.
I see. Well, they're smoking into the pit, and obviously with this Axe, they could take it, but OG might have a little inkling that this is occurring. Taiga on the high ground, breaking the smoke. It might cost him his life. Gets off a nice avalanche with the Gale Force to follow, but the lasso, that's going to find Uragi's first life, and he's completely surrounded, so even his illusion will die. And that means OG might have to give this up as Amar kind of stuck inside his own triangle. BKB popped by Stormstormer. Life break to the creeps for Amar. He's going to pop a BKB of his own, which means they can't really kill him at the moment. A nice curse doing a lot of damage to Seb as Amar focusing purely on the Bristleback who's staying alive. Amar, look, getting to see the save there onto the Bristleback, although taking a lot of Burning Spear damage. It looks like Amar is just resigned to his death. But Saberlight does die to the ridiculous amount of Burning Spears that were applied to him. And is this enough to go for Roche? I mean, they have an entire zoo with Visage here.
I feel like with the zoo, they can't, like, if this was any other draft, you'd be like, oh no, the Bristle died, Entity can't go
Right.
Roche, but every one of their heroes can. Oh, Uragi.
Uragi, he's alive again. Gets off the magic missile. Illuminate to come. Fishman gets extremely low. And you can see the Roche starting to get low itself, and Uragi really doesn't care about dying this first time. We've seen this story before. 17 seconds on the Huskar life. Uragi's first life down again. A lot of damage being applied to the Wyvern, who gets blown up, so Kataomi out of the fight along with
Stormstormer's
Fishman,
trying to finish
and
it,
into
dude.
the pit. Stormstormer doesn't have that much damage to work with, getting quite low himself, just getting beat
Oh,
by
he does
Roche. But the Aegis is taken by BZM, and that is unfortunate for OG, or for Entity, I should say.
Very
as
fortunate for OG.
My goodness, able to get in the pit and get a bunch of kills on top of that.
Yeah.
I mean, even with those zoo creeps, I thought that was going to be fast enough for Entity, but nice call from OG walking into the pit.
Yeah, I mean, OG realizing without Bristle that, yeah, the zoo can take Roche, but they're not strong to fight. The BKBs were down, the lasso was used, everything was used. Venge, this Venge debate is letting them play like really long fights. Like BZM, I feel like he got off like 3 big Illuminates during that fight.
Yeah, I mean, they're all enclosed in a nice little space here for him. And, I mean, the fact that they just didn't have the follow-up damage to just finish Roche itself, maybe that was the better play.
Stormstormer's in there desperately trying to kill Roche. Like, guys?
I mean, 8 stacks of sticky napalm, the power shot brings that fight to the end. And, yeah, nice job from OG with 4 minutes left on the Aegis. They do lose Taiga here on the Tiny, but they're going to be extremely happy with how this last few minutes has gone. And Amar already point booster into his Aghanim Scepter.
Yeah. And after that last little Roche engagement, he has queued up the Aghanim Shard. He's not so sure if he's going to be getting a free Roche this game.
Okay.
Looks like both teams very willing to throw their lives away to contest it.
Yeah.
As we saw in that last fight.
Yeah, smoke up. OG looking to get active again. Seb Actually, Yuragi likely to lead the way. No, it's going to be Seb. The smoke is broken, and they're going to spot Saberlight. Gale Force already there. Fishman is going to get tossed back onto the stairway. He's going to get off his mech along with the Hand of God, but Saberlight just trying to focus with that lasso target. But, again, the swap comes out from Yuragi. Nice counteract to that lasso. Amar gets off the inner fire, focusing on Visage all himself, but he's completely surrounded. Another inner fire to come, and the life break to follow. He's still staying alive with barely any HP, but OG are getting destroyed in this fight. And Yuragi, that is the illusion. They're going to take it out eventually, and they're going to find BZM on top of this, so a full team wipe, and likely to find the kill after the Aegis goes out here. So Entity somehow not losing anybody. BZM with the Illuminate, but it's not going to be much here. And Entity somehow winning this fight handily.
I feel like that started pretty good for OG. I mean, like Amar gets off the inner fire, and he has the shard now, by the way, so it healed him a bunch in that fight. It was a big debate from him, but it's just all of these creeps. Fishman was doing a really good job, not like, you know, pun intended, I suppose, panicking and running away from the creep army and running away from the Wraith Pack. They're legit just standing there and healing through everything and just letting the creeps do their work.
So OG, I mean, it felt like they had an okay lead after that first Roche engagement, but kind of throw it away to a degree, and now we're just sitting on a very even game.
You know, if Bristle is alive for Entity, I feel like it's really good for them to take long fights. Like, both sides want to take long fights. But I feel like Bristle stacking up the Goos, you have the Chen heals, and you've also the Wraith Pact on Visage, and you have Winter Wyvern who's going to be using his heals. Batrider plays long fights, right? You get 10 stacks of napalm on somebody, they die instantly. So Entity just seems to have the better lineup for playing long fights. OG, they need a toss back. They need a Venge swap to start a fight.
We see a couple creeps taken out right now with that death throw. Not going to be used to any effect here, unfortunately, for Fishman.
Very good. You're the one person in Dota that knows what that ability is called.
It's a cool ability. If they just had a little
suicide
action there, yeah.
They did add the ability to GG out in ranked, so...
That's right. Why not?
Why can't Tomatoes GG out of life?
And Amar onto the high ground with Taiga's support, and OG with full control of Entity's jungle at the moment, but that just means Entity's going to gain control of their jungle, as the BKB looking to be next for Saberlight, so not too far away from finishing it. About 1,000 gold away. But the tier 2 tower, I don't think Entity's going to defend this, so might be a freebie despite not having the Aegis anymore for OG, still getting the first tier 2 tower of the game in their favor.
And now OG needs to make the choice, like, do they want to...
Oh, we have the lasso initiation. Focusing on Yuragi first, the Lotus Orb applied. Gonna bounce back a couple things here. Gets off another swap, and there's the illusion. So that's the first life for Yuragi. But again, swap out to Safety's arms this time, and Amar focusing on Bristle again. Not doing that much damage right now as Amar getting extremely low. There's the Lotus Orb, and he doesn't have enough lifesteal to work with at the moment. That inner fire just not providing quite enough HP regen. And now Seb might getting punished here. Visage Familiars, Curse. And BZM would be an enormous kill as Saberlight positioning himself very nicely to get off these Goos and Quill Sprays. Toby finishing him off with that Soul Assumption. Gale Force not really going to help too much here as another fight going the way of Entity. Seb and the illusion of Yuragi, the last to remain. And Yuragi,
middle tower has fallen.
He's actually going to come back. That is unfortunate timing. Really well played from Entity, knowing that he would respawn. So dies again. And the illusion will likely follow suit. That is exactly what you described.
Okay, I will say,
of the game.
I was complaining about the Venge carry, and one thing that I did not realize at the time, somebody corrected me, this was on Reddit or something, you can backpack the Venge Eggs to not go back to the illusion. So the fact that Yuragi didn't do that makes me think this is a bit of a failed experiment. You know what I mean? Because that's like, I feel like if you're spamming the Venge, if this is your thing, you know, you're gonna backpack that. Because there was some Venge pervert out there that was like, oh, you can backpack backpack the eggs.
It's an interesting way to describe that. But yeah, no, you're right. I'm sure somebody's telling him right now. Probably Seb, knowing him.
Yeah.
So we'll see if that ends up happening again in this game.
Maybe they fixed it or something. Maybe you can't do that.
I feel like
I'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
that would make sense for it to actually work, though, based on mechanics in Dota. But again, like you said, you never actually know. Could have been hotfix with no patch.
Is it because if you're dead, can you not backpack? Is that it? Is that no, because you could put it in your stash.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm fairly sure you should be able to do that.
Maybe there's something funky going on there. But anyway, man, I think Entity's onto something.
They're
here.
not afraid of initiating onto Yuragi, and that is going to be another death for him. But again, Illusion comes out, Soul Assumption to follow, and with Toby's familiars here, you can see OG not really wanting to fight, so that is death number 7 for Yuragi. Again, it is a position 3 this game, but that still does not feel good as Saberlight and Coming feeling very comfortable going for the high ground take now. But there is buyback available for the Venge. Tier 3 towers down. Gale Force. Zeb looking for the power shot. There's the buyback coming out. Taiga gets off the nice toss back onto Saberlight. Pops that BKB instantly. Focusing on a Taiga to start this out as he is dead right off the bat. We'll have the buyback as well as Yuragi looking for his 8th death of the game. Amar falls as well. Just too much physical damage from this Bristleback. And a nice curse that might just end this game. GG is called Entity. Gracious me, oh my. That was a very quick turnaround. The fact that, I mean, it was only like a 6K lead knocking on the high ground, but that fight, that was 3 full team wipes in a row, and I don't think Entity lost 1 hero. Dude, am I mistaken?
How weird was that game out of 10 to you? Like, tell me your honest opinion. That was a weird game.
Yes.
Wasn't it?
Yes.
Out of 10.
Maybe an 8.
Like an 8? It's pretty high.
Yeah.
That's pretty high. Like, that was just, it was strange, because it felt like there were times that OG were ahead